Hey, everyone. I'm Melinda Rychlik-Clark. I am the CEO of Empower the Yet, where I help busy mamas get focused on what they truly love in their business by helping them with virtual assistant services and live coaching that can really break through boundaries and break down walls that have been holding them back from being their best self and growing and flourishing in their business. So today we're going to be talking about empowered women of the Bible. Okay. And this is super cool because this lady doesn't even have a name. She's just called the widow of Zarephath. Okay. And it boggles my mind when I read the story and I listened to the story, and I was like, oh my gosh, how awful. Like the story, how awful. So Elijah was walking by and needed food. And this lady did not have, she had enough for her last meal. She was gathering sticks for the fire to be able to create this last meal for her and her son. And she knew that she was probably going to starve to death because this was it. She had a little flour and a little oil. But she told Elijah that she had enough, but in reality, she knew this was going to be like her last meal. And so Elijah said, don't worry. I want you to go ahead and make the meal because God will replenish the food staples. Okay, in essence. And so here this widow goes and she's creating this meal, and God supernaturally extends this to her because of her faith and her obedience. And so I don't know if you're like me where you kind of hit some hard times in life and you're like, man, I don't know how we're going to make it. I don't know how we're going to do this. You just don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You don't see what is actually taking place, because in your faith, you have to trust with this. You can't even describe it. You just have to know that God is going to provide. In all things, God will provide. Financially, emotionally, relationally, He's going to provide for you. And you have to be in prayer. You have to be in scripture. And ultimately, you really just have to trust the whole process of it, because sometimes we don't understand what we don't know, what we can't see. And that's why faith is so amazing, because it really does mean that we have to have a solid faith in what we absolutely cannot see. Okay. So there was a time in my life where I was a single mom of 3 kids, and we did not have money. Okay. Like we did not have, it was rough, like rough. I mean, I look back on it now and I still don't know how I survived. Like, honestly, I do. Like, I know it was God, but there were bills coming in that I didn't know how I was going to get paid. Right. And when you're in those desperate situations and those desperate times, your mind takes you places that are so negative. It was just like, the widow at Zarephath was she just knew this was going to be her last meal. This is it. This is it. I mean, she knew it. Like, she could see it. This is all she could see. And she was like, yep, this is it. There were times in my life where I didn't know how I was going to go buy groceries. I didn't know how, and this is no joke. Okay. I didn't know how I was going to get the money, and it always showed up. It always, always, always showed up. And so maybe you're in that season where you're really having to trust financially. Maybe you're in that season where you're really having to trust maritally, right? Maybe you're in that season where you're having to trust in motherhood. Okay, that things are going to just be okay if you just let go just a little bit. And I think that in our faith, because we're such an instant gratification society now, that it's really hard to do this. Like, it's super duper hard to do this. Okay, let's just get real. It really is. But when you've seen this over and over again, like I've seen this over and over and over again, that it all works out. Okay. God supernaturally still does things that we don't even know how it happened. Okay. So fast forward in my life, still single mom with 3 kids. It came to, selling one house and figuring out what I was going to do and where I was going to go, who I was going to live with, and if I was going to have a roommate and what, all the things that go with that. And you guys, I was not in a place where I was supposed to be able to buy a house. Like, not credit wise, money wise. I was not. But I kept praying and I kept saying, God, whatever you want me to do, I'll be obedient to. I will trust you. I've seen you at work. And I was able to buy a house as a single mom with 3 kids. And it was an absolute miracle that happened. I still look back on it and I'm like, man. And the things that happened after that, because I finally just surrendered things in my life that were just not good for me. Doors started opening and miracles started happening. And it was such a blessing to see God really working in my life. And so maybe you're in that season where you're having to trust that much, right? You're the widow, right, of Zarephath, and you're having to like look at it and go, I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't know how this is going to work. And so I just want to encourage you to keep the faith, get into the word, look at the scriptures. Look at the scriptures on faith. Look at the scriptures on spiritual warfare. Look at the scriptures on all the things that are going on around us, that as a Christian, the war has already been won. But in our earthly self, it's still a battle. Okay? And so we have to keep the faith and be faithful in that. And so if you need prayer, please reach out. If you need you want to have some resources that maybe could help you, you're always welcome to drop in the comments that you want to chat or you need prayer. But I hope this makes you feel hopeful and encourages you, and you see the joy in the process of living out your faith in hard times. So on that note, I'm going to say goodbye, guys. And remember, until next time, slay those giants, girls, so you can be happy, joyous, and free in Christ, empowering the yet so you can change your family tree. Bye, guys.